Hello, my friends. I am back. I never really left. I'm hoping this turns out to be a VR. You never know with me. It's for Bearded Bristol. We got an interesting little giveaway going on. First of all, I'm going to tell you what I'm smoking. Something you've never seen me smoke before. Something I've never smoked before on a couple of counts. Smoking my Country Gentleman. In it says McQuaid plug. Mick McQuaid plug. If I remember correctly, this is no longer available. Leo Aldipole gave me this last year sometime. I've got that I jarred it in September. So it's going on a year old. The tobacco is at least a year old. It's been jarred for about 10 months, a little over 10 months. So I've never smoked this brand, and I've never smoked plug tobacco before. It is literally a little brick. To be thick as a brick. You can see there my mediocre cutting job of. I thought I'd cut it all the way through, but I hadn't. Call it foresight. But it was just enough to fill that bowl up, so I'll take that as a win. I have not developed an opinion of this tobacco yet, so don't ask. Tastes pretty good. I don't see anything wrong with it. I know a few people that commented favorably on it when I first got it, so one of those being someone whose opinion I thoroughly trust. That was Pipe Nutter. Doesn't have any kind of bite or anything like that to it. Pretty pleasant retro hell. Anyway, I won't make Bearded Bristol watch me ramble forever. If you haven't subbed to him, you might like his channel. He talks about stuff. I mean, he talks about stuff. I ramble. Every now and then something comes in and out of it, but he picks a subject and expounds on it with foresight. I won't say with malice and a foresight. That's just the term that popped in my head. I mean, he's got ideas in his head, and he sits there and works through them. And it's usually pretty good stuff. I say usually pretty good. It's not like I can think of anything that wasn't good. Figure of speech, I guess. Anyway, he wanted us to talk about some of our pleasant childhood memories. You know, when I just think about that, just like right off the top of my head, not a lot comes to mind. I probably had a pretty good childhood compared to a lot of people. I don't know. Go back to my normal video and see what you think about that, but So I won't go into that. I'll try to think of some fun things that I did when I was a kid that I enjoyed. I loved being outside when I was a kid. It was prior to the age of video games and stuff like that, at least in the form that they're in now. I had Pong. So we didn't spend all day sitting there playing that, but I'd get out and ride my bike. I love to ride my bike. And I'd go everywhere. That's back in the days, and you didn't have to worry about stuff like you do now. We'd go 20, 30 miles in a day easily. But I would ride all over town. I would ride trails. I would ride neighborhoods I never went in. I would just go. I remember me and my buddy Keith were out riding one day somewhere we'd never been before, across the main highway in this neighborhood. It was kind of up in some hills. And we got off on a trail, a dirt trail, and went out through the woods. We was cruising down that trail, going as fast as we could go without killing ourselves. It went a pretty good little ways. Probably several hundred yards at least. You could see we were coming down to the end of it. As we got to the end of it, somebody had built a little dirt ramp kind of thing. Why not? We both hit that thing going full speed, and when we landed, we were in some lady's garden. And she was too. She was not happy. So we didn't slow down, we just kept going. My buddy Keith was a little bit more of a daredevil than I was. We used to build ramps. One day, he pulled some old spare tires out of his backyard. Had like probably a 2x6 or something. Set one of them tires up, propped the plank up on it. We would go down the road and jump and, across his yard. And that wasn't good enough. We set up 2 tires. So that made it about, 16, 18 inches. That gave it a little more lift. We both jumped off that one a few times. He decided this ain't good enough. I want to put 4 tires up there. Now the thing was probably, I don't know how thick tires are. I'm guessing it was probably about 32 inches or 36 inches or something like that. 3 feet, something, I don't know. The 2x6 was probably only about 5 feet long. So the angle of ascent, looking back on it, it was probably about 45 degrees. I decided I'd let him try it first. He backed out on the road and got him a good run coming down through there. Cut up through his driveway and across his yard. hit that 2x6. It slowed him down quite a bit, and he decided before he got to the top of it that he was going to have to abort his mission. But he didn't decide soon enough. Get up to the top of the thing, and his front tire dropped off in the middle of the tire. His back end kept going. He went right over. Remember one time when before we lived in that house, we lived right around the corner. We had an above ground pool. Probably, I was 7 years old, and the water was up to here, so it's probably 3 feet, maybe 4 feet, I don't remember. It was about probably 16 or 18 feet across. It was a good size above ground pool. Me and my brother, who was 6 years older than me, and our cousin, who was probably 4 or 5 years older than my brother. So we were probably like 7, 13, and 17 or something like that. We decided we was going to make a whirlpool. We started walking around the perimeter, getting the water going. Kept going and kept going and kept going, till if you weren't holding on to something pretty strong, it would just take you. You would just go. Especially me, I couldn't, unless I was like holding onto the ladder or one of them or something. I was bound, and my destiny was set, and I was going for a ride. I guess we got it going a little too fast. The outward force of that water caused that pool to collapse. It ripped a big hole in one side of it. And here I go. Of course, it's all like, I don't know what it was made of. It was like sheet metal or something. It was all torn up, everything. I'm sure I would have gotten cut up pretty bad if I'd have went through it. And right before I made it to it, I felt somebody grab my arm. And it was my brother. And my cousin was holding his arm. All that water went out. Flooded about 4 yards around there. Flooded our neighbor's in-ground pool. I don't recall the aftermath of that situation. Sure, I didn't get in trouble. I don't remember if anybody got in trouble. It was just one of those things, I guess. But one other thing I remember, this isn't a pleasant memory, but it's a funny memory looking back on it. It wasn't funny at the time, but I was in high school. I hung out with a bunch of guys. I hung out with a bunch of different people, a bunch of different cliques of people. I didn't really fit in with any of them, but I was part of all of them, kind of. I was in with the punk rockers, mainly because of the music, and they all rode skateboards, like hardcore skateboarding. One of them had a deck built in his backyard, a full ramp with like 2 feet of vertical on it. Half pipe. But they were good. They could hang on to it and stuff. I'd only ever had these little Sears skateboards and stuff, you know, ride around on your belly or something like that. Watching them for a while, I decided, man, if they can do it, I can do it. Not on the ramp. I never even set foot on that ramp. I lived on a road that was like a three-tiered hill, three-tiered hill. It came down, and then there was a flat spot, and then it came down again. And you could get cruising on your bike. I had a speedometer on one of my bikes. You could get going like 40 miles an hour coming down that hill. They took me up to the top of that hill, and they had these big, those, like skateboards are today. Big monster skateboard. One of them was going to let me borrow one. And I had I had a custom-made jacket. Had my name stitched in the front. It was a local college hockey team logo and stuff on the back. We got up there. They're like, yeah, you just, stand on it and ride. It's pretty much the rules of a skateboard, I guess. Well, we all said, all right, let's go. So they took off, and they was like kicking, boom, 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 getting some speed up. And they took off. They went down the hill. Well, I just kind of stood there and let gravity take over. Gravity shows no mercy. I got going down through there. I'd come off that first tier. I was on the little flat spot and started down the second tier. And I experienced something called speed wobble. It's where the board kind of starts, jacking back and forth and whatever. I suppose there's a way to fix it, but I didn't know what it was. My brain quickly told me a crash was imminent. And I was about in the middle of the road. So I knew I was going to crash. And the only thing I could do to lessen it was to try to make it to the side of the road and jump off into the grass. I almost made it. But then gravity. I went down belly first, slid probably 20 feet or something like that. I don't know. Long enough to make it hurt, I'll put it that way. Some older guy came by on a bicycle. You okay? And of course, I'm laying there bleeding to death. Oh. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Of course. He rode on down. One of my buddies later said the guy came by and said, hey, your buddy took a spill up there. I managed to get up, walk back to my house. My house was the very end of that street. Jeans, both of my knees were blown out and cut up in the jeans. One arm of that jacket was all torn up. Just destroyed. Both my wrists were cut up. That, my friend, was the last time I ever sat on a skateboard. Anyway, I don't know if this is what you were looking for or not, but there it is. If you happen to draw my name in this, when you said the prize, all I could imagine was Kramer from Seinfeld, that big portrait of him. it would be much appreciated. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think it would be something my wife would want to hang on the wall. Big picture of my mug. So either don't enter me in the drawing, or I have a proposition where you can do something artistic for a charity. That would be cool. If you don't want to do that, and you don't want to go through the hassle of dealing with me, you can just not put my name in the drawing, but I wanted to show some support for your channel. So, plug's actually pretty good. I think I might try another bowl of it here in a minute. Take care of yourself. Keep putting out some good videos. And thanks for the opportunity to let me ramble for a while. Take care.